What's up and welcome to the channel. My name is Headshot and thank you guys for joining us for our top 5 double stack compacts for concealed carry. We did our single stack video a few months back and now we're going up to the double stack compacts. A lot of guns omitted in this list. There's only 5 and these are also 5 that we have personal experience with. If there's a gun that's not in this list that you think should definitely be there, let us know. And maybe in the future we might even update this list. If there's a double stack compact that we review in the future and it just blows us away and is an amazing option, I will update this list in the future and it might even take the #1 spot. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think about the list after the video, of course. Now, because gun manufacturers set their own set of standards for compact, subcompact, full size, all this kind of stuff, I set my own set of standards for this video. Each gun has anywhere from 10 to 13 rounds, so under a full-size capacity, that's where I wanted to keep it. Each one of them has like under a 4-inch barrel, so that's something to keep in mind. Each one is kind of the mid-size between the full-size counterparts and the single stack options, if there are any in the particular lineup or manufacturer lineup that we do. And each one is comparable to the other one. So there's no huge gap in size, weight, and all this kind of stuff. Each one of these guns is going to be in that same ballpark of what we're talking about here. All right, each gun will have pros and cons, and we will do some of the features that make each one of these unique within the crowd. But we're not going to go into a bunch of specs and technical details of each one. We have reviews on all of these guns, so if you want to know more in-depth information about them, go over and check out our reviews on whichever gun that you want to get more information about. Other than that, let's go ahead and get started. Number 5, the Mmp9 Compact. This is a gun that we have reviewed twice, and it is an amazing, aggressive option. It is the most aggressive double stack compact on this list. The grip texture on the gun is very aggressive, and it can work either way. It could be too aggressive for some people, or if you're outside, you're sweating and all that kind of stuff, that grip just locks into your hand and does a great job of keeping the gun in your hand while you're shooting and practicing and all this kind of stuff. So it does a great job as far as that. Slide serrations in the front and the rear on this gun, and it kind of has a little divot in the slide that allows you to grab those front serrations and get a good bite on them. It's kind of like a military concealed carry gun. That's what it really reminds me of. You have interchangeable back straps with or without night sights on this gun. It comes with 3 magazine options, so you're going to get 1 flat base plate 12-round magazine, a pinky extension 12-round magazine, and then a full-size 17-round magazine. So it is interchangeable with the full-size F&S magazine, so that is a big deal as well. Fully ambidextrous controls. This is one of the few guns where the slide stop and the magazine button are both ambidextrous, so that for some people is going to be a huge bonus. The trigger is a smooth hinged design. To me, it is better than the Mmp9 hinged trigger. It's just smoother and it feels better. It's a little bit heavier to me. It definitely is a smooth option for sure. And you're talking about a gun that's around $550 with night sights, around $450 without night sights. There are some cons on this one. The aggressive grip texture, again, can be a con for some people, but a pro for some. But I would classify it kind of as a con for a lot of people. I've heard a lot of people that actually carry this gun inside the waistband with that aggressive texture can rip your clothes or even your skin if you're not wearing a shirt underneath that, between your skin and the actual grip itself. So just keep that in mind. The slide on this gun is a very stiff and solid gun. So if you have weaker hands, for whatever reason, pulling the slide back on this gun is going to take some getting used to. The magazine button release, although it is ambidextrous, it is very stiff to use, and what I mean by that is when you actually hit that magazine button release, it's not as responsive. You have to push it further into the frame than you do on other guns, and even you have to push it even more than the full-size F&S. The full-size F&S has a very responsive magazine button release. I'm pretty sure they can be swapped out If you decide to get a compact and you don't like that magazine button release, I'm pretty sure that you can get the full-size magazine button release and swap it in its place. And then the sight picture with this gun, although it's a good sight picture, I tend to hit high with the FN guns in general. So I don't know what it is. There's just something with that sight picture. For me and my accuracy, I have to be very, very conscious to keep all the sights lined up. I know it sounds kind of weird, like duh, that's something that you do with any gun, but on the FN, it's just something about it. I really have to pay close attention to that. But otherwise, it isn't top 5 on my list because of all the options it gives you. It really is a great gun. So if that's one you're looking at, that's going to be a good option. Number 4 on the list, this gun, it feels like we reviewed it forever ago. It's the XD Mod 2 with the grip zone. And this is the gun that tells you right there on the grip how to hold your pistol. Right there in big letters, it says grip zone. But all jokes aside, the grip zone is actually a good thing and a much needed thing, in my opinion, for the XD series. The grip zone, it has this these squigglies that are interlaced with each other that really do an amazing job. There's like 3 different textures built into the one grip that really make this gun feel amazing in the hand. You have a fiber optic front sight and then white dots in the rear, so you kind of have that contrast there. So if you're shooting outside or anywhere with ambient light, that fiber optic is really going to stick out to you. The grip texture is completely different than the FNS. Where the FNS is more aggressive, the grip zone texture on the XD Mod 2 is more subtle, and it has the right amount of texturing and aggressiveness just to keep that thing locked in your hand without hurting your hand. So that's something to keep in mind. They did a great job with that texturing. You do have an ambidextrous magazine release, but the slide stop is not. And then the slide serrations wrap kind of over the top of the slide a little bit. And on the back, towards the back of the actual slide, there's little indentations. So it gives you a really clean purchase on the back of the gun whenever you're charging it. The trigger is super smooth. You have a dingus in the middle of the trigger like most safe action type of designs are, but it is very, very smooth. And then a loaded chamber indicator, a cocking indicator, a dingus on the trigger, and then your grip safety. So this thing is loaded with safety features. A little bit too much in my opinion with the loaded chamber indicator, a cocking indicator, a grip safety, all this kind of stuff. But if you're somebody that's safety conscious and you want those extra steps, this may be a really good option for you. All right, the cons on this gun, the grip zone being written on the grip itself is kind of hokey. Don't get me wrong, it works great, but for a lot of people, especially after we did that video, a lot of people left us comments like, dude, they need to leave that crap off of the side of the gun, and I agree. The grip safety, although it is very passive, it's a passive kind of safety. To me, it's just kind of unnecessary. You don't really need a grip safety. I know a lot of people like that, especially when you're reholstering your gun. They can just stick their thumb on the back of the slide. They don't have to, fully grip the gun, and they know that that gun will not go off unless you're engaging that grip safety. To me, though, I just see it as unnecessary. If you follow the rules of safety for a gun, you shouldn't have to worry about that at all. I do see the logic, but I just think the grip safety is unnecessary. Fiber optic sights only work well if you have ambient light to use them. So I think night sights are definitely a better option. But overall, for around $400 to $450, this gun is a great option. Number 3, the Mmp9 Compact. I've had this gun twice now, and for around $400, this gun is the value-minded double stack compact with really no frills, no thrills, no extra anything with it. It just is what it is, and with a lot of the M&P line, I've noticed that. They're rugged, they're dependable, they do what you need them to do. All right, this gun is gonna come with or without a safety. You do have a 2-slot rail. I didn't mention this on the other guns, but on the FNS, you have a 1913 style rail. On the XD Mod 2, you have 1 slot for a rail. On the Mmp9 Compact, you have 2 slots for a rail. The magazine button on all of the M&Ps is very positive, and that's one thing I really like about it. The grip, although it is slippery and it doesn't do a really good job of biting in your hand, the grip angle is very comfortable and has a very natural point of aim. And that's something with the MMPs, you cannot take it away from them. They feel good in the hand and they point very natural. The sights are now ramped. So on the older Mmp9 Compacts, they were sloped, so you couldn't do one-handed manipulations. On the newer ones, they're ramped, so you can do that now. Reversible magazine, button release, and your slide stop is ambidextrous. So left-handed shooters, that's something that you could definitely find use in. Slide serrations, they're the fish scale style serrations, and they do a great job. Very positive grip on them, and they feel great. Loaded chamber viewport, so you can look down there and see your brass. And like most MMPs, offers you a lot for a very, very good price. It's going to come with one 12-round magazine with the flat base plate, then one 12-round magazine with the pinky extension. All right, now the cons on the Mmp9 Compact. The triggers, the split hinge design triggers, although they've gotten better, they're still not up to par with some of the other manufacturers and what they do with their triggers. I really wish they would do just a different trigger altogether. Even though that hinge design has gotten better, I'm still not a big fan of it. And the grip needs a 45 shield type of makeover. More aggressive in the grip would definitely do that thing good. But overall, sometimes $399 is what you can get these things at. Very, very good option in the Mmp9 Compact. Number 2 is a gun. If you're familiar with the channel, then you are familiar with this gun, the P320 Subcompact. Now, don't let the name on the side of the slide fool you. SIG named it a subcompact. It's a subcompact compared to the other P320s, but it's really a compact. You're going to get two 12-round magazines. They both have the flat base plate on them. And you're going to get an interchangeable, full-size, compact, subcompact type of gun. This gun lets you buy one gun and make it any of those options. It has the actual firing group chassis that you can remove without any tools and put it in any of the grip frames along the way. So you buy your grip modules, you put your firing control in there, it's still the same gun, it's still the same serialized part of the gun, and you can do all that with one gun. Front and rear slide serrations that work very well, and this gun is very smooth. There's no dingus on the trigger, and the trigger pull is short, it's light, and it's crisp, and the reset is just amazing. And this is one of those guns that I feel you can put in anybody's hands and they start shooting the gun very well. The slide stop is ambidextrous, the magazine button is reversible with or without night sights. Probably some of the best night sights that I've used on a factory gun, because even though they're all the same color, they have a little white outline, the contrast is still there and you can still see really well even when they're not, even when it's not at night, you can see those sights very well. The magazine button release is very responsive on this gun, so you have a lot going for it. They're starting to fall down a little bit in price. I've seen them around $500 to around $525, somewhere in there. The magazines are interchangeable with the bigger P320s as well, so you have a lot of interchangeability there. You have a easy gun to break down and an easy gun to make into something else. If you want to carry the subcompact but take the full size for competition shooting, you can definitely do that with this gun. There are some cons. The grip modules, they're cheap and they feel cheap. They scratch up easily. They are disposable, in my opinion. There is a redesign of the P320 with the slide stop and the breakdown lever. So the old breakdown levers are kind of big and gawky looking. The new ones are more flush, so that's something you want to keep in mind if you want to go with one of the newer redesigned grip modules and slide stops of the newer ones. You can get them in 9mm, 40, 357 SIG, and a 45. The other con that I didn't think of was the 45 is not interchangeable with the other options. It was originally supposed to be, but they could not get that worked out, so to me that is definitely a con. But other than that, this gun is really amazing, and if you're looking at one in this range, that is a gun you definitely want to look at. And number one, to me, is the Glock 26. This is a gun that I feel is probably the best double stack compact because of the options it gives you. It's a very simple gun. It's very simple to maintain, very simple to use and break down and all this kind of stuff. But you also have interchangeability with all of the full size 9mm or 40 if you decide to go with the 27. You can use 33 round mags in it. This gun gives you a lot of options. And really, out of all these guns, it is the easiest to carry inside the waistband, at least, because it is, again, very small, but it gives you 10 rounds in the magazine. It comes with 3 magazines, interchangeable back straps, all this kind of good stuff. It's very easy to shoot. The triggers on them are very decent. They're not something, that I would personally go out and, put a $150 trigger in it. I think they do great right out of the box. The magazine button release on them is reversible. It is not ambidextrous as far as the slide stop. So you have an interchangeable gun. You have a gun that a lot of people choose for concealed carry. And that's one of the biggest things is you have decent capacity, a very, very carryable gun in a package that shoots really, really, really well. So on our example, we've put the Trigicon HDs on there. To me, that's a con with any Glock. You have to go out and change the sights or something on it. A lot of people will buy a Glock and change something on it right from the factory. For me, it's the sights. I have to accrue that extra cost anytime I buy a Glock. Now this pick for number 1 may surprise a lot of people, but really it comes down to the carryability of the 26. I personally like the P320 Subcompact better than the 26 as far as shooting, but when it comes to carrying the gun, which is what we're focusing on here, the 26 carries better. It's lighter, it's shorter, and to me it's just much easier to carry inside the waistband. Now there are some cons on the 26 as well. We talked about having to upgrade sights. That's just my personal thing, but I'm gonna put it in there as a con. The grip angle on it, definitely not as good as the other guns. It's something that I have to, sometimes adjust to whenever I'm pulling it out of a holster. A lot of times I'll be aiming high whenever I pull it out. That's just, me, but the grip angle, it is a little bit different. It's not a deal breaker, obviously. It's number 1 on the list, but it's just one of the minor little cons with this gun. The magazine button release isn't as responsive as I would like, but it's still, I think, the best option in this category for concealed carry. Now, which one of these guns have I kept? The Glock 26 is now my daily carry. It's like I said, I carry it in the holster setup here, and it just works really, really well. It's very comfortable to carry every single day. And that interchangeability. You have the 10 round magazines, but you also have 33 round magazines if you want to have a whole lot of fun. It's just a great, great little option. And then the P320 Subcompact. I will not get rid of this gun. Anytime I buy a P320, from now on, that gun is going to stay in my collection. Amazing shooter. And this is one of those guns, like I said, you put this in anybody's hands, new, experienced, it seems like people respond well, they shoot well with this gun, and it is just a great, easy to use type of gun. And you can break this thing down to, the very smallest piece with no time at all used. So I really love these options. The Mmp9 Compact is another gun that would be in my collection, but it's a gun that we've just had to kind of sell at that particular time to get more guns to review. The FNS9 Compact, that's another example of a gun I just had to sell for a review. If it wasn't for YouTube and just doing reviews, those guns would be in my collection. The XD Mod 2 was a borrowed gun from a friend. So that is another gun, if I could, it would be in my collection. But these two right here, as far as in this category, I feel I could go with these two and be just as satisfied. So I think these two offer you the most. That's just my opinion. Now, a lot of people are going to ask about the Glock 19. This, of course, has been classified by Glock as a compact. To me, it is a smaller full-size gun. 15 rounds, you have a 4.01 inch barrel, so it's just over 4 inches, barely. This is the MOS-19. You can put an optic on it. It's a smaller full-size gun. Not, to me, really a double-stack compact. A lot of people carry this gun, though, so that's something if you want to go up a little bit in size, it definitely will give you more rounds and all that kind of stuff. But for me, the 26 is definitely the better option in the double-stack compact. So there you go. There's my list. I know a lot of people are going to like it and a lot of people are going to disagree. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. We'll see you in the next one. And as always, hold them down.